back. So yeah, that was a not a fun Sunday. I'd say. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's time to panic. And I asked that question in a few different ways. So one, for the team, obviously, is it time to panic? Is the season over? Two, hearing a lot of noise, outside noise. Is it time to panic when it comes to Caleb? Is it time to panic? Obviously with a lot of things on the team. Personally, I think no. I don't think it's time to panic. I think for the Bears specifically, I think again it's 2 games. If you look at the other teams in the league, you have the Chiefs, they're 0-2. You have the Texans, they're 0-2. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to say that we're as good as those teams, but my point is that being 0-2 sucks, but it's not the end of the world. I think the first game, I think we can all agree that it was winnable and probably should have won that game. And I think the second game, most people didn't expect us to win. Even if we gave ourselves a chance, I thought that we at least, played well the majority of the first half, I thought. We had 1 turnover, I think the Swift fumble. Oh, yeah, 2 turnovers. The Swift fumble. We had the Caleb interception where he's trying to throw the ball away. Otherwise, I thought Caleb did do some good things in the first half. We also had that unfortunate call at the end of the first half, I thought, that kind of swung the momentum a little. Because I think, we were about to go into the half down 7. They brought everyone out to the field. So I didn't know what was going on, but obviously that sucked. And then, it was just disappointing. The second half, I felt like the Lions obviously went back and made some adjustments. It just didn't seem like the Bears did. The offense kind of became a little more stagnant in the second half, which is a little troubling because I feel like that happened in the first half too. I don't know what you think. I thought in the first game, I felt like the offense kind of was humming in the beginning. Seemed like it was similar this half. Second half, and again, it could also be that game kind of got away from us. Caleb maybe in the offense thought they had to score too many points too quick. Like I said, I still thought overall, if we just take the final score away, which is 52-21, I think that, like I said, offense, there was some pluses in my eyes. I felt like Caleb did do some things right through the ball. I thought Swift had some nice runs, so that was nice, that little bit of the running game. I also like that they gave the rookie a little bit of a try in this game, more than they did in the first game. So I think those are some pluses. Obviously besides trying to just look at all the negative stuff. So, yeah, so I guess, the reason I asked is it time to panic is more because I feel like it's very easy to shit on this loss. It was very bad. And I'm sure you and I have already discussed that with our friends and other people enough already, where I'm just trying to say, like, hey, you know what? It's 2 games. We're playing the Cowboys this week. I feel like it's at home. I feel like they can, maybe take some of the positives with them in that game and bounce back. So, yeah, I don't think it's time to panic quite yet. And if we also talk about Caleb a little bit too, I also don't think it's time to panic there. Because like I said, I thought he did some good things as well. But no, other than that, the defensive side of the ball, the one thing I will say that might be panic mode is the Johnson injury. So I want you to touch on that a little bit too. The question's going to be, was he 100%? I don't know. I would like to think he definitely wasn't 100. Maybe he was close. But to have that injury the whole preseason, it's kind of like a mystery. And then you game time decision week 1 doesn't play, so it still makes you wonder how significant that injury was, and was he playing at 100%? Because obviously, if he wasn't, now he's lost him for the season. And I know you brought up earlier to me before we started about T.J. Edwards, so very similar thing where didn't play week 1. We play him, now he aggravates the hamstring. So was it 100%? Was it 80%? Was it 90%? Did they feel like they really needed this win that badly? Now, obviously, end of the day, if we're playing hypothetical, it turned out to be a horrible idea if that was the case. But yeah, obviously, we'll never know. So, like I said, I think I'll kind of bounce it off to you then. What do you think then? Do you think it's time to panic in any area?
Okay, so there's 2 ways to look at it. It's been 2 games against 2 of the best teams from last year. Both won 14 games each. So, losing to Detroit and Minnesota, there's no shame in that. We have 15 games left. So when you say panic, in terms of expectations, I don't know if a lot of fans had the Bears going to the playoffs. So like it depends on your expectations. I say that there's enough games where like it's not really time to panic, because I didn't think the Bears, from my standpoint, from my view, I thought they were maybe a limbo wild card team. I didn't think they were going to win the division. Not after when Green Bay made that trade. So, and Minnesota and Detroit just have better talent than us. Minnesota is the one team that I was looking at because of McCarthy being a rookie, that maybe the Bears can surpass them. But the reason why the panic button is being pressed for me a little bit, though, is yes, we can get better from what we've seen from the first two games. The first game was a collapse. Second game, we got blown out, gave up 52 points, and it was a lingering effect from the fourth quarter from the previous game when we gave up 21. So we gave up 73 points in 5 quarters. Like, that's just ridiculous to do. But, like, just watching the game, like, how much money we've spent on the defensive line, and we were not able to stop the run. You got to stop the run, right?
Yeah.
And we got no pressure.
Zero
pressure. Like, Montez Sweat had 1 sack that got called back, but other than that, it wasn't there. It was non-existent. So there was no pressure. Our coverage was horrible. And you know, when you lose Jalen Johnson, you got to help the DBs back, like by pressuring the quarterback, and we haven't done that. But we can't stop the run, so we're not good at anything right now. So that's why I'm panicking a little bit, because our defense was supposed to be our strength while the offense kind of gets it together. There's a couple positives that I saw. Caleb looked a lot better in this game from the last game, because, especially in the first quarter, this is a positive. We scored in the first drive 2 games in a row. We didn't do that at all last year. Mm-hmm. So that is a positive. Like, the first 15 plays being scripted is helping him out tremendously. And Odunze broke out a little bit, but if I had to nitpick, he missed 2 catches too. And we've also fumbled the ball when we were down 7 early in the first half. We also went with a quarterback sneak twice. We did the same play 2 times in a row, which makes me question Ben Johnson. You know, does he not trust some of the running backs? I mean, we only had 2 healthy for that game, but did he not trust him to get 1 yard? 2 plays in a row to do that, and he saw how the first play went. I have to question it, especially in your own territory. Like, we got lucky and we ended up getting a missed field goal from that. But right now, I can't feel good moving forward right now. They're just going to have to prove it to us.
Yeah.
But it's disappointing. Giving up 50-something odd points to a division rival, and we were moving the ball. Like, right when they scored 7 points, it took about 2 minutes, 4 to 5 plays. Bears came right back and scored and tied the game up. But after that, it just felt like it was a battle all day to try to tie up the score and make this a game. Like, I felt like we were behind the whole game. And we were literally, but just we couldn't seem to get anything going consistently, either on defense or offense. I can't really blame anything on Caleb, because the defense was giving up so many points that, like, it was out of his control to
I agree.
To even put a good game.
Yeah.
Like, we're down 28-14 at half. We got the ball back. So if he scored and made it 28-21, maybe it'd be a different game. Yeah. But it was just, we know we had to pass more than we had to run, because there's not much time left in the game. So we had to get the ball moving. Right now, Caleb needs the run game to get going for him to get into rhythm. And we haven't been able to do that consistently. DeAndre Swift had a better game. If you look at the numbers, he had like 11, 12 touches, 63 rushing yards. Yeah. So the average was good there, but he fumbled the ball. It was horrible timing.
Yeah.
Especially us being down, the turnover, Ben Johnson going for it twice to get 1 yard. Like, that changed the whole momentum for the game.
Yeah, and there's no room for error when you're playing a team like Detroit.
No, not especially after they got destroyed by Green Bay the week before, and people questioning if this is the same team because they lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. They were out to prove a point, and I knew this was going to be a tough game, but it's it's alarming the way we lost the game. If this was a more competitive game, I wouldn't have been as worried. But after seeing the result, like it sucks. We right now it just feels like last year a continuation, and it as a Bears fan, it's disappointing. It sucks to see something like this, and it's going to take some time. I'm trying to be optimistic because we have 15 games left, but things aren't. I can't really say I'm looking forward to something because I don't know what to expect.
Okay. Yeah, so there are just two things. So one, I agree with you completely on the Caleb point that I don't put this loss at all on him. I thought he looked, for the majority of the game, he looked good. He looked pretty comfortable most of the game. Obviously, the only gripe I have is the interception because, again, a lot of things with him is just trying to make something out of nothing. And sometimes you're just better served just throwing the ball away. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm glad he didn't take a sack. But when you're out of the pocket, no one's open, just fire it out of bounds. There's 4 people there, 4 defenders. Don't try to throw it up for grabs. That's not going to lead to anything good usually.
No, I get that point. I think because of where the game was at when he do that pick.
But that was in the first half still.
They're still down, right?
Yeah. But
he's trying to make a play down the field. Like, it's just, in order for Caleb, I think, to really get going, we cannot have penalties at the line, right? We got to get into third and manageable for him a lot for him to get into rhythm.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with all that.
Yeah,
I just don't like just throwing a ball up to grab.
I get that. But, like, once you're down and the defense isn't stopping them, he's going to go off script and try to make plays. I can't blame him for that. That's why I'm not putting any major blame on him. He still needs to clean up on a lot of stuff. Yeah. When I say he looked good, he looked better than last week. That does not mean that I think he looked really good out there.
And I agree with you on that. But again, my problem with the interception, it's different if it's someone down the middle, there's 2 defenders there, and he's trying to squeeze a ball, and it pops up in the air and gets intercepted. He's making a play. That play, if you remember, the play broke down. It almost seemed like he was trying to throw it away because it was nowhere near the receiver anyway. Yeah. And he just literally threw it and didn't throw it far enough.
I agree with you. It did look like he was trying to throw out of bounds, and at the last split second, I think he saw someone, and there was nobody there. So,
but again, it's just one play. I'm not, obviously that has nothing really to do with that.
It probably wasn't the biggest bother for me in the game. Our defense, it's just, I don't understand how we spend this kind of money at the line and we're not good at either stopping the run or the pass.
Correct.
Stopping the run is the number one goal every time for the defense because if you can't stop the run, then the pass game opens up.
Yeah.
So the game's over if you can't stop the run. They had 177 rushing yards. And mind you, I have to take this in context that we faced a 14-win team last year that was a Super Bowl contender. So there's no shame, I guess, in losing by 30. If we lost by 30 to the Titans, that would be a bigger red flag. Yeah. But losing by 30 to the Lions at their place and Ben Johnson's homecoming,
it made it worse. Yeah.
The Lions were definitely out there on a mission to make a statement that they're not going anywhere and they're a force to be reckoned with, and that's what they did.
And I think it almost hurt the Bears that the Lions looked as bad as they did the previous week because they had that even more ammunition to come out.
People were questioning them.
Yeah, because that's the thing I keep bringing up. Like, all my worries, and we're talking about is it time to panic, is more with the team as a whole because I feel like a lot of the negativity that's coming out that I'm seeing in the general media right now is based on the score. And I just think that the final score is just being a little overhyped, in my opinion. For one, when the third quarter ended, the Bears literally gave up. And what I mean by that is they put Bajan in, took a lot of the starters out in the offense. And then on the defense, and again, I'm not saying that they quit like they stopped playing, but you could just kind of sense that the Bears knew they were going to lose. They were already kind of on with the next game kind of thing. And usually in those circumstances, your opponent runs the ball every play, wastes the clock. The Lions were like, no, we're going to score as many points as we can because they were still calling play action and throwing it into the end zone when they were up by 25.
They're making a statement. They're running up the score, and that's fine.
Which is fine. But I'm just saying, let's not overanalyze the fact that they lost 52-21. Let's instead, let's just discuss, like, is it kind of panic based on how bad they're playing overall? not on the score of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. But I will remind you, though, right now, like you said, Jalen Johnson's probably out for the year. Stevenson didn't look good, but like I said, if you don't get pressure, he's going to look even worse. So the defensive line, we're paying a lot of guys a lot of money, and they're not young guys. Montez Sweat has not looked like an elite pass rusher with the amount of money that we're paying him. Grady Jarrett was someone that was available late in free agency. The Falcons decided they weren't going to re-sign him or didn't have the money to re-sign him. And a lot of people liked that move. I liked it. I'm not going to lie.
I loved it. But and I forgot he was on the team. That's how bad he's been. Because I haven't even heard his name mentioned. He hasn't literally done anything productive.
But there might have been a reason why the Falcons didn't want to pay as much because, I mean, he is 32 years old. And listen, when you get to a certain age in the NFL, like you might be falling off the cliff at any point, meaning you may look great the year before, but at a certain age, you have to worry, is this guy going to look the same the next year? When you're in your early 20s, you have some kind of track record, you're not as worried. But once you hit 30, 31, the bad side of 30, the other side of 30, you worry year to year. Like, is this someone that we have to worry about? And we gave him a lot of guaranteed money, dude. Montez Sweat is going to be on the hook probably next year. So is Jarrett. So is the defensive end from the Colts. I mean, we're just not getting any pressure, and that's a big red flag. And even Gervon Dexter, like.
Yeah.
I haven't seen...
He was supposed to make the leap this year, and I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great first half against the Vikings. He got a big sack on the first drive of that game against the Vikings. And, yeah, just there's no pressure. We're not causing any turnovers. A lot of Lions players that were getting touchdowns, they were getting untouched entering the end zone.
Yeah.
Like, it was big chunks of plays that was going on.
Then that's the thing is that right now, as a Bears fan, you hope that, especially because Ben Johnson and the way that he was kind of talked about during training camp, the type of coach he was, and kind of getting angry and expecting more. I mean, as a fan, I'm expecting this week that he better be putting that team through hell in practice. And I don't know if they come out flat again. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
He did say something in the post game that we are going to find out about the players and how hard they practice this week and who wants to be part of the game plan for this upcoming week. But there's something else going on that we've talked about before, and that's concerning, that was brought up in a lot of radio stations on Monday, and they're still talking about it today, is that we have 4 picks in the past draft, right? We had Loveland, we had Burden, we had Ozzie Trapillo. Yep. And we had Shamar Stewart, who was supposed to be part of the rotation at the defensive tackle. 2 of them were not dressed.
Wait, was Shamar Stewart, is that the name of the guy from Cincinnati?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who is it? I'm sorry. I forgot. It's Stewart. I forgot his name because he probably doesn't play.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, because when you said Shamar Stewart, I'm like, wait a minute, that name sounds really familiar, but that's the guy who was holding out with Cincinnati.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I do. I just can't even think of the name because they haven't been used.
Shamar Turner, sorry.
Shamar Turner, right. So I guess that leads me to the next topic in hand. And kind of, it's an elephant that's been addressed. Should Ryan Poles be on the hot seat? And I guess the B part of the question, should he have gotten an extension? So I think you and I have brought this up when he first got extended. I don't think he's earned anything. I don't think he's earned getting an extension personally. I don't think he earned it at all. I mean, if you look at it, one thing I'll say that's unfair about the Ryan Poles perception is a lot of times when the media talks about his success as a GM, they're going back to when he took over the job. And if we're being fair to him, a lot of what he took over was a lot of garbage that Ryan Pace did, right? So I'll give him some credit, for some of the things that he did or changes that he made then to kind of clean up the messes. But if we're being honest, since then, you look at the last 2 years, they were on Hard Knocks. People were saying he had he won the offseason, he did all these things the first year round, and we were 5-12. All we did was get another draft pick. And then now this season, we're off to this start. And a lot of the points that you made, some of the signings he did, or some of the moves he's made, right? We can go back to trading a second round pick for Sweat instead of, using free agent dollars for that. And I think we both agree that Sweat did play well after the trade, which kind of lent you to believe that he deserved that contract. So in one way, I guess when he did it, it kind of made sense. But
understand, when we traded for him, we were going to sign him.
Right.
He was going to the free agency. You wouldn't.
And we are. You went right.
Yeah.
But again, I guess my point is that looking back at it, hypothetically, they could have opted to sign a couple of the guys that ended up being free agents instead of trading for him. That could have been something that happened, right? And then you look at some of the free agent signings, the Jarretts of the world, the Tremaine Edmonds, trading Roquan Smith for a second-round pick instead of just re-signing him, trading for Chase Claypool. I think people forget about that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moves that you could go back at and kind of scratch your head and say, you got the Velus Jones draft pick. A lot of his draft picks haven't panned out. And then this year you have draft picks that we don't know if they've panned out, but how are we supposed to know if you don't fucking play them? And sorry I'm going all angry here, but it's just annoying. Like, you're wasting these draft picks early, and you could have shored up the defensive line. You have a guy like Pierce, who got drafted by Atlanta, and he was rumored to go to the Bears. We could have used them as a pass rusher. Instead, we decided to go and get Luther Burden. So when the draft picks happened, we kind of said, okay, they're going all out. They're trying to get these guys for Ben Johnson, for the offense, and for Caleb. But when you were 2 weeks in and you barely see him on the field, it's a very troubling sign.
Yeah, and the rule of thumb for the draft is, like, when you're drafting someone in the first and the second round, they're not supposed to be projects. Like, they're supposed to play. They're starters. So when you don't see Turner on the field, who was supposed to – that's the reason why they let go of Zach Pickens as well, because he didn't turn out. He was a third-round pick in 2023, and they let him go because he wasn't panning out. So they, again – went to the draft in the second round to get Shamar Turner, and he's learning under Jarrett. Billings is the starter with Dexter. And like I said, it's been 2 games, but like the line is a big red flag right now. It's a mess right now. And then you can go on the other side of the line. We traded for Jonah Jackson. We traded for Joe Tooney. We signed Drew Dahlman. Offensive line looks better from last year, but that's not saying much because last year it was a disaster.
Right.
Like, it can only go up. So there's no consistency. They seem to have trouble running the ball effectively, and it doesn't seem like Caleb's getting pressured like every other play like last year. But it just seems very inconsistent right now.
Yeah, and again, this is why, like, a lot of the questions become like, do you blame anything on Ben Johnson, or is it all on Poles, or is it both? Because for a pick like Loveland, let's be honest with you, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm some draft guru. I had heard of his name, but the consensus number 1 tight end in the draft was Tyler Warren by far, and I thought that's who the Bears were going to get. He actually had been talked about. He played for a big school. He put up numbers, and we decided to go with Colston Loveland. And at the time, it made it seem like, oh, well, this is Ben Johnson, feels like this is going to be the guy that fits his offense. So, again, I don't know if it was Ben Johnson that kind of, liked him, and that's why Poles went for it. But at the end of the day, if you're going to draft this guy and he's good, he should be on the field, and we should be involving him. Tyler Warren already has like 13 receptions in 2 weeks with Indy. They're using him.
Yeah, and it's also concerning because Ben Johnson uses the tight end position a lot. And we just haven't seen enough from Kmet or Loveland. And I thought we were going to see a lot of passes in the middle, which I feel like the Bears never seem to go.
No.
And it just doesn't look like a Ben Johnson offense right now. And I think part of the problem is because we can't run the ball effectively.
Well, yeah, you don't have the personnel. It's hard to do.
Well, yeah, but then, like, if we thought about this before the season, that this might be an issue. And we did question, like, should they have picked up a running back? Maybe, like, even Nick Chubb. If worse comes to worse, like, we can't find someone in the draft. They were rumored to maybe get Henderson from Ohio State. He's not really a power running back. He's kind of like DeAndre Swift.
Like Swift,
but he's probably better at what Swift does. we need a power running back, but we can't make excuses right now because we upgraded the line. So, like, Swift did get a couple good runs in, but, like, I think because we were giving up so many points at the same time that we weren't able to really get in rhythm and have a good offensive game because the tempo, the game situation changed when we're down so many points that we had to start passing down the field. Yeah. And that's not something that we're at that level right now to do. Like, we can't overcome big comebacks like that or big leads like that.
And I feel like we need to start asking, too, like, who's the Bears trainer? Because we have so many weird injuries that we don't know. Then some guys are hurt, and we don't even know why they're hurt, and they're not playing. And, like, is it just me, or I just feel like the Bears are just the weirdest team when it comes to injuries and the injury report and not knowing why a guy's not playing or anything?
Well, we know that Jalen Johnson was hurt throughout the whole training camp. It was like a secret. They weren't saying anything throughout the training camp. Yeah, I think he was in a podcast that mentioned something about his groin. That was like him doing it in a random podcast, but I didn't hear about that. They did keep it a secret. It sounded like it could go into the season or that, he would be ready. But, like, yeah, no one really knew. I was shocked about TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon. I didn't know that these guys were actually hurt. Yeah, these guys are really important players. You could even tell, like, even though we gave up 52 points, but, like, early in the first half, Jalen Johnson broke up, one pass. That could have been
we got a couple
big
stops.
Reception, yeah. So, yeah, they did. Like, in the first quarter, we were getting first quarter into the second quarter, we got a couple stops where could have answered back with some points, but we turned the ball over and we went for it in our own.
No, and I think you'll agree with offenses like Detroit, the way you beat them, and if you watch the Green Bay game, the way you beat a team like Detroit is your offense needs to stay on the field as much as possible and keep them off the field. So you need long drives, and you made the best point in the beginning. You have to run the football because even on the drives where we scored, it was mainly throwing. So I think we had one drive where we went down and scored that touchdown, but it was in like 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So the problem is it's great, but you can't afford to get into a track meet with a team that you can't keep up with. That was the problem.
The Bears are nowhere near that level to do that.
Yeah,
and it's gonna and they might not be this year. Like, this is gonna take some time if we're trying to be optimistic about it. I don't know what to expect in the next game, but for Jared Goff, who doesn't have any mobility, like, he's not gonna run for 15 yards rushing. The fact that we couldn't get to him at all throughout the game, like even for like a couple series in a row, like, that's very concerning. So, we'll see what happens, what they learn from this game. But
in your eyes,
it's frustrating.
Would you say that Poles should be in the hot seat?
I think that's a conversation to have after the season because we still have. If you want to be optimistic and say we shouldn't hit the panic button, then we got to give them the 15 games. In terms of an extension, I just think that the McCaskies want to align his contract.
No, we get that,
with Ben
but
Johnson.
I still don't think that he did anything to earn that.
I mean, no, of course not. Of course not. He has no winning season.
Right.
We weren't close to making the playoffs in any of the last 4 years.
It's almost kind of we talked about the Hoyer extension.
Yeah,
I mean, why not wait till the season's over, or why not give it one full season to see if he's deserving of this?
I think it's just the fact that he had 2 years left, and Ben Johnson just signed a 5-year deal that they're like, if Poles is going to be here, so is Ben Johnson. If Ben Johnson is going to be here, Poles is going to be here. They're aligned and they're linked to each other. So that's how I perceive it.
So I guess the best question then to ask you is this, and I'll twofold it.
Okay.
One, do you think that Poles should be fireable even if you're going to keep Ben Johnson as the head coach? Is one. Two, do you see any way the Bears organization fires Poles before firing Ben Johnson?
If they were going to fire anyone, I could definitely see them firing Ryan Poles and keeping Ben Johnson. Right. But my strong conviction about that is if Ryan Poles gets let go, Ben Johnson will get let go.
Really?
Yeah.
So if the team goes 3-14 this year, let's just say, just worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And they're going to fire, you think they would fire Ben Johnson too?
I don't think. See, this is why I say this. I don't think they would fire Ryan Poles or Ben Johnson, even if we go 1-15 or 1-16. The reason is because if you extended his contract to align with Ben Johnson, you're saying that they're strongly linked together.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason. If they never extended Ryan Poles, then I can definitely see Ryan Poles getting let go. But they are connected together, in my opinion. So if anyone's getting fired, it would be both of them because of the link.
I agree.
But
I almost would rather keep. I don't know. This is me selfishly. Like if we had a horrible year, but let's say Caleb showed some signs, the offense showed some signs and woke up, but the defense just was disappointing, and we just kept losing games. That's when I can kind of go, well, why don't we keep Ben if he's good for Caleb in the offense and go a different direction with general manager? But again, it's just the next question is going to be, would this organization actually have the balls to do it?
No, not after extending them. That's saying that we're giving you time, even no matter what happens this year. Although I'm sure they would have a meeting if they went like 5 wins or below, because that means something terribly went wrong. Even with this schedule, the Bears, in my opinion, and this is why I'm very frustrated of what they showed this past Sunday and then like the collapse against the Vikings, they have way too much talent to win below 7 wins. Like
I agree.
Yeah, I don't care how tough that schedule is. You have to show something at some point, and that's why this is disappointing. Like if they lost 52-51, totally different story. Yeah. But they didn't.
Yeah.
So,
but again, this goes to show though how important that week 1 loss was, because if they take care of business like they should have and win that game, then we're having a much different conversation. Because even though we're a little worried about the way they lost this last game, we're still 1-1. It's way different of a picture. Like
it is.
Like, look at Minnesota. I mean, they just lost McCarthy, injury, all that. Look at their season. Had they lost to the Bears and not made that comeback, and they lose this game the way they did, and now they lose McCarthy and Aaron Jones, and they're 0-2. They're panicking. So it just goes
I don't know if the team is actually panicking, but the fan base is panicking.
Right.
Just think about the difference between 1-1 and 0-2. 0-2 means historically you have only 10% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Since 1970. That is an actual stat. So history is not on our side of trying to make the playoffs. We all think that the Bears had a shot to make the playoffs. Maybe not win the division,
correct,
but come in as a 7 seed or a 6 seed.
But they got to win this week. I mean,
it is as a must win
for any chance at a playoff, Bert. Any chance, you got to win.
It's at home. It's against Dallas. Dallas's defense did not look good against the Giants at home.
No, it was.
So the Bears have something positive to look forward to expose the Cowboys, but our defense just gave up 52 points to Detroit.
Correct.
And Dallas's offense may not be Detroit, but they're very competent. CeeDee Lamb is a elite receiver. You think we can win? I know you told me this before.
I really do. But
you're being very optimistic.
I am.
Though.
But here's going to be the key, because you just brought up Javonte Williams. The reason why, if you watch that game, the reason why Dallas was so successful offensively against the Giants, and why they've been successful this season so far, has been they've been able to run the football.
Yeah.
And part of the reason you brought up earlier, part of the reason why the Bears have looked so bad on defense is their inability to stop the run.
No, you're absolutely right.
The key is, if we can stop Javonte Williams, we can stop the run, I think we'll have a much better chance to hold our own and win that game. But God forbid, if Javonte Williams runs wild on us, we're fucked. Because that means
team is fucked if you can't stop the run.
Well, especially when you have, to your point, CeeDee Lamb, Pickens. Yeah, you're going to get
the Bears have to on defense. What I would like to see them do is stop the run. Yeah. Make them rush for under 100 yards.
Yeah.
Let's just keep
keep it third and long, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 38.
But stop the run. Show me that you can stop the run. And then on offense, let's continue to establish the run to help
keep
the passing
keep the defense off the field, because it seems like so far
those two things must happen.
Yeah, because it seems like so far too, when our defense has had time and then they come out, they play a little bit better. When we do 3 and outs or stuff and the defense goes right back in, it's ugly. Like the defense just starts to get tired and they fold basically, which is obviously no excuse, but it's just not good. Not a good sign.
So just another thing I wanted to point out, though, is that Caleb is so behind in development right now that we can't really afford penalties. Like, I'm hoping for the next game to see a penalty-free type game from the offensive line.
Yeah.
Because, like, you get into 1st and 10, and there's all of a sudden a false start, 1st and 15. It changes the whole series.
Correct.
And Caleb doesn't need that right now.
Correct.
We need him to get into rhythm, so they got to help him out there.
Yeah, and two things I'll bring up for this week. So week 1 with the offensive line, I remember we brought up Jackson was terrible. Wright held his own, even though the only thing I worried about was the penalties with the false starts.
Yeah.
His hold penalty, I think we all agreed, was a bad call. But no, the one thing I brought up was Jones actually was, for the most part, pretty good week 1. But, man, he was bad week 2. And I didn't even have to watch tape or anything. Just watching the game, he was bull rushed every play. I think he had 2 holds. He got pushed around, sacks on him. So, yeah, that's another worry. But again, to your point, the Trapolo thing, because you hear a lot of fans go, "Oh, put Trapolo in. Why are we waiting?" But if Trapolo is not a left tackle, naturally, and he's not going to be better, you're just not going to throw a rookie in there because Jones is struggling. If you
a lot of people are questioning that move right now because they saw him as someone that can potentially be a left tackle. He was definitely a right tackle in college for most of his career. But what's concerning is that he's a second-round pick, and he's your swing guy right now, and that's not something that we needed for this team. So, like, right now we have 4 rookies in the first 2 rounds of the 2025 draft that are giving us nothing right now. And I don't know if it's because they're behind in development. Yeah. I don't know if Ben Johnson – he loves to use the tight end, and it's just crazy that Loveland had 0 catches in the last game.
And I'm saying it really nicely right now. Really nicely. But I'm telling you, if we go another week, I'm going to be a lot more upset when I bring this up about not
Loveland,
using them.
0 targets, 0 catches.
Yeah. It's week 3. You got to do something different. You got to.
He's so good at scheming guys to get open, especially like a guy like Loveland, like he
and
did.
Burden, though, like in the preseason, I get it's the preseason, but they were using him. They were using Burden.
Maybe
understand.
It's just a matter of fact that right now, they got more defeat. They got Komet. They have a lot of weapons. Maybe they have too many weapons. I don't know.
That's why maybe you should have drafted a pass rusher.
Yeah, that's a good point. But then, free agency happened first, and they put in a lot of money into the defensive end.
But really, that's true.
And they had Austin Booker. He's hurt. He's out for the first 4 games. So maybe they felt comfortable with Montez Sweat being fully healthy. They got Grady Jarrett for interior pressure, and they drafted Turner. Yeah. Okay, you can say that now because they're not playing well, and I agree with you. But at the time in the summer, we addressed those needs.
That's true.
So yes, we're questioning the picks and their impact right now, which is fine to do because ultimately we're not the GMs, right? Ryan Poles is, and Ben Johnson had a factor into the decision making, so we can question it, but we can't play hindsight because at the time we were praising him.
But it's not really hindsight though, because even in a podcast that we did a couple weeks ago, I think before the season even began, I did bring up, hey, should we be going after a pass rusher? I feel like we need an extra pass rusher. And that was before the season even started.
We could have signed Zadarius Smith, and it probably would have made a lot of people happy just because, it's another guy that has experience getting to the quarterback. That's great. But getting him and him playing the first 2 games, I don't think would have really changed much.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I get it. If someone's available and fits a need, you always look into it, right? And I think Ryan Poles has shown, especially watching Hard Knocks, like he's always looking to improve the team. Try to get the, Judon last year. He was about to give up a 3rd-round pick to the Patriots to get him. He was awful. Right, that would have been another bad move, but he unfortunately the Falcons made they decided to go the Falcons because they thought their draft pick was going to be higher. So you can get mad at him for not making moves. You can get mad at him for making certain moves. He is a GM. Things have not worked out well, and I kind of feel bad for him because I think he's been doing the right things and nothing's panning out right now. Like, we don't have any Pro Bowl players right now.
I agree. We could feel bad for him. At the end of the day, though, this business is a what have you done for me lately, and it's a wins losses thing. And if you're not winning, he could be a great guy, but sorry, fuck off.
Yeah, I get that. I just think also, like, we have a rookie head coach, and, you know, I'm sure he knows that, man, I got to get Loveland and Burden involved in the game plan. But, you know, they did miss some time during training camp, and they're rookies, so they might be behind. So maybe we have to be patient. But my expectations got very low, and I don't think we're going to beat Dallas. I don't feel good about.
Let's see Sunday. Let's just see.
I mean, we'll see. But, like, you know, there's no signs of things getting better right now. So
yeah, most teams that have a young starting quarterback have a veteran backup. You know why that is? Because if he struggles and you put in Case Keenum, he's not looking over his shoulder. The media isn't being like, "Ooh, is this quarterback better? Should that be the quarterback of their future?" No, like, I'm just being honest. If it's Case Keenum coming in and he's struggling, it's different. Caleb now is still learning, and you have a guy who's just going to be here for the end of the year, and there's no, you know, tidbits and news media talking about like, "Ooh, is he better than Caleb? Should he be the starter or the future?"
I don't agree with you on that.
That's the talk that fans say, though. I'm telling you.
Tyson Bagent is getting a lot of love because of, like, the storyline of how he was in the Division 3.
That's nothing to do with football.
Bro, it's just how people feel. I'm not going to tell people how to feel, bro. Like, it's like political stuff. Everyone has different opinions. We can respect their opinions. We may not agree with it. I'm on your side with Caleb. I want to see him play the whole season if he's healthy. But if we're not winning and he's looking worse, they might do that move, and you can't blame them. Remember, their jobs are in the line, not our jobs. Our jobs are we're fans. We're just watching. But again, the product has to get better, too.
I can't blame them. Again, I can't blame them if they said, you know what, we've seen enough with Caleb. We need to turn the page.
Yeah,
that's fine. Because otherwise, I'm very scared that you can ruin them even more.
Yeah, if they get to that point, that means they gave up on Caleb, and I think that's not going to happen this season. Maybe next season. I think they're going to give him every shot to get better. He is nowhere near close to that decision. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
He played a decent first half. Not great. I'm going to make that a point.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but he doesn't control fumbles from his running back, and he doesn't control play calling
or drops.
Roman Dunze, great game, but he had two catches that he missed,
and they were big drops.
They were big catches that could have changed the game. So that's why a lot of people that are Caleb fans that are hoping that he does well, they're saying that he wasn't the major problem in this game. But listen to what I just said. He wasn't the major problem. So he still didn't look good enough at that point.
Yeah. No, he's definitely far from perfect.
No. We don't want him to be perfect, it has to look a certain way. And what they're acknowledging is that he looked better. I think he looked better from the first game, but I don't know how much better that was.
Yeah.
But he had a great first drive, like the last game, the first game of the year, where he scored. You know, the script was great. He converted with a touchdown to Odunze. But after that, the offense wasn't really clicking. It wasn't all his fault. But, you know, to say that he wasn't any part of the problem is
and believe me, I'm far from like the hugest Caleb fan, and I'll criticize him.
You don't need to defend yourself on that.
My point is just the Bagent thing with him.
I understand. We're just trying to see if he's getting better, little by little. That's all we're asking for. They should be able to score on Dallas.
Yeah. For this game, like my general sense, I don't have much to say about it. We already brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
Run the ball. And I love how you always point out, even if you're in the beginning, you're not running it that effectively, keep running it.
Yeah, establish your run.
Keep the clock moving as much as you can.
Yeah.
To give your defense some rest.
I get it.
Yeah.
Establish the run and do it often.
Yeah. And do
even
the best to
2 yards, 3 yards, first 2 plays, you're running the ball. Just do it, run some clock, play some ball control, and then get into third and
then stop the run.
Yeah. And then if it's where like it's like 2nd and 7 and they go for a pass in the second down because, you know, it's a guessing game at that point, that's fine with me too. But make sure that you're trying to establish the run because that's only going to help Caleb. So DeAndre Swift needs to get at minimum 15 rushes or more, even though he's not that type of running back. But he is our only healthy running back because they don't trust the fucking guy from Rutgers. I'll tell you that much.
Don't,
yeah, and the 2 rushes that he had, he got blown in the backfield. So the offensive line needs to play well. They need a limit. If the offensive line can just not have any penalties, I would, especially at home.
Yeah, and the thing is, they don't even need to like run for 150, 200 yards either, because when I watched the Dallas game,
it would help.
No, it would help. But when I watched the Dallas game, the Giants didn't necessarily run the ball that effectively. Scatterbo actually ran pretty good from what I saw. Tyrone Tracy was a non-factor. They literally just kept going back and just throwing the ball all over Dallas. Now, obviously, Dallas is going to do some homework and try to make some adjustments.
We have a veteran quarterback as well. But looking up if I had to look up the stats right now from that game.
Yeah, but Russell Wilson
I just
tore them up.
I just want to see what I'm curious to see what was the run pass ratio in that game for the Giants. And the Giants
they threw
41 passes, but they rushed for 20. So 2-1 in the passing run ratio.
And they didn't run it that effectively.
No, they didn't. They had 84 rushing yards between 5 guys, including Russell Wilson. 21 rushes. They averaged 4 yards a carry. So Russell Wilson was just on passing wise. I mean, he had a great game. He looked dead in the water.
No, but it was a similar thing though. I watched a lot of the highlights. Protection. That's the key. He had time to throw. And the same thing with Goff. Even though he has a little bit more mobility, he obviously used to have a lot more mobility, but again, he almost is a statue now, Russell Wilson. Yeah. Kind of how Goff is
almost gone.
So, and the Cowboys weren't able to get pressure. I was watching.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it because you don't have Micah Parsons anymore. But you watch, no pressure. What happens? Russell Wilson has time, and he throws an amazing deep ball.
I mean, Wilson was getting away from the rushes a little bit, right? Or was he purely in the pocket? I didn't watch
a lot of them, though. He was just standing there with time.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So their offensive line had a good game. That's sometimes it happens.
So again, call me crazy, but I really think that they're going to win this game. I don't know how they're going to find a way to win.
Crazy, but I'm not very optimistic right now based on what I saw in the last 2
Part of the reason I think they're going to win is I think they're going to do a better job stopping the run, and that's going to help them. And I also think they're going to run the ball a little bit better. I'm not expecting a lot of good run. I think Caleb will continue to improve, and I think they'll squeak a low scoring, or not a low scoring.
I don't think it's going to be low scoring at all.
No, 30-27 is probably what I'm thinking. Prescott's going to be
able to get the ball down the field.
Yeah, I'm thinking 30-27, but I think the Bears are somehow going to pull it off.
And how are you going to feel if they lose?
If they lose, then I'll eat my words, and I'll probably won't predict another win. But I don't. It's almost part of me feels like this is a must win.
Backs are against the wall.
And if we feel anything on Ben Johnson and on his no nonsense kind of mentality from the training camp, I have to believe that, especially because I was at the Vikings game, and for the majority of the game, they didn't look bad. So I don't know. Part of me just tells me home game.
In terms of what? Majority of the game.
That they didn't look too bad. The defense looked pretty good.
The defense, but did the offense?
Yeah. I mean, the second half maybe not so good, but
even late in the first half, they didn't look good offensively. You saw that they were stalling. They weren't moving the ball and stuff. And Minnesota was hanging around.
Yeah. But Minnesota also has a better defense than Dallas, so let's just see.
They do on paper, but they haven't played like it, in my opinion.
Well, I thought Minnesota's defense didn't play horrible against us. And they definitely didn't. They played pretty good against Atlanta, too. And Atlanta's got a pretty good offense. They shut down Bijan pretty well, and they
that's true. They did leave them to a lot of field goals. Yeah, you're right. I mean, so Minnesota hasn't played awful defense in the first 2 games. I'll give you that. They should play a lot better, right?
And again, it doesn't matter, but just the sake of saying something, I'm going to say 30-27. That'll be my prediction.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game too. I'm at this point where they have to I'm not expecting it. But if they show me, in other words, I wouldn't be surprised if they won. But until they show me something, I'm going to continue to think that they're going to lose. And it's not being negative. It's just
no, I get it.
Just you found a way to lose a collapse in the first game, and then you got blown out and gave up 52 points. How the fuck am I supposed to think that they're going to win against Dallas? even though it's at home. You would think that being at home.
Part of me is being at home is kind of giving me a little. I feel like they're gonna.
The season's on the line. Like it feels like that early in the season. Not because there's playoff implications. There is, but because this is the third game of the year, and if they lose this game, like the outcry from all the radio stations, fans calling in, is gonna be super, super fucked up.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's what's kind of on the line, is to, like, we need to just get the W and, like, stop the bleeding. That's what's on the line.
Agreed. All right, we'll see what happens.
Yep.